you see this very intimate relationship between all of these characters, all three of these characters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. We are back at it again with another movie review for The Holdovers, which is a 2023 film that came out last Christmas. I think it was around November time that it came out. This movie was incredible. It was directed by Alexander Payne, and it stars Paul Giamatti and Dominic Sessa, as well as Divine Joy Randolph.
Yeah, you made it, Calvin. You did it.
I did it.
This is a phenomenal movie, and it's getting Oscar nominations.
Yes, Paul Giamatti is up for an Oscar for Best Lead Role Performance, and Divine Joy Randolph is also up for an Oscar of Best Supporting Actress, which is really impressive. This movie is very, very well deserving of these Oscars, and that's like to say a lot. Like Alexander Payne is a really good director. He directed the movie Sideways, which also stars Paul Giamatti, if you didn't know. And
I have not seen Sideways.
It's a really, really solid movie. And just to see him come back and do another successful movie like this, The Holdovers, this might be one of the best holiday movies of all time. Like, this is a very, very well crafted movie. But before we get into our review, I just want to remind everybody, please go down, hit that like and subscribe button down below. And you can follow us on, Twitter and Instagram and, patreon.com. Go support us over there, patreon.com/thecalvincam. It really helps us out. It helps us get bigger and better. So, but back into the review, this movie is, like I said, it's incredible. It's a masterpiece. To give you a little summary, a cranky history teacher at a remote prep school is forced to remain on campus over the holidays with a troubled student who has no place to go and a grieving cook. So, this movie has a lot of really serious and heavy elements to it, but ultimately, I think that the way that it's delivered is really beautiful. Especially, you have Paul Giamatti playing Paul Hunnam, Paul Hunnam.
It's Paul Hunnam, yeah.
And he's just like, you immediately like, oh, he's that teacher. He's teacher.
He's the teacher that we all despise. Like, basically, he's an academics teacher. He goes by the book, and he doesn't like to break his core rules about being a teacher. Like, he wants to push academics. He wants to push discipline. He just wants to make his students feel like they're educated and they're getting a good education. And like, he doesn't want to slack off of that.
And I think that part of that goes off of just the way that like he was brought up, because he also attended that school. You find out in the film, and his teacher was just as hard, if not harder, on him than that he is on his students in this film. But this film, I feel like the focus is, yes, it's around Paul Giamatti, but Dominic Sessa is Angus. I feel like he's the core of this movie.
He is the core of this movie. We learn more about him during their once they're held over. We get good chemistry between Paul Giamatti and him, and you kind of learn his character and his story as the film progresses.
He's one of like 5 boys that get like kind of held over the holidays, and that's basically the title, The Holdovers. Basically, they don't have anywhere to go during Christmas. Their families are gone or whatnot, and then they're stuck at school for the remaining of the break. And they eventually, like, all of them leave except for Dominic.
The guy, the kid that his father owns like a ski resort. They have a helicopter flying, and all the kids leave except for Dominic.
Yeah,
because they can't get a hold of Dominic's parents because they're like on holiday somewhere.
Yeah, they left him behind, and it's sad. It's actually sad. It's and then we have Mary Lamb, who is the cook of the school, and she's just like dealing with things in her own way. Her the loss of her husband, right?
No,
his son. I'm sorry.
He lost her son.
Yeah.
I think in
war, right?
In war, probably in Vietnam, because this film takes place around 1970 actually.
Yeah, and so she's kind of just like, she has nowhere to really go. She has no family really, and she just kind of like remains at the school, usually takes care of whoever teacher is doing the holdovers for the year. And it's you see this very intimate relationship between all of these characters, all three of these characters.
I see that they're like an odd couple, but they come together and they warm up to each other like by the end of the film.
Yeah, because you could tell that like Paul Giamatti becomes like really empathetic, and it's the way that his acting performance in this movie is just astounding. Like it's you really see him go from 0 to 100 in certain moments, and he plays the cranky old man like amazingly.
Yeah, the cranky old man, the cranky old like I said, academics teacher. Like,
but he also like, I love the way that he portrays also just how intelligent he is as well. Like when they go out into the city to have fun in Boston, and then like they're at the bowling alley, and like he just like is sitting at the bar with those guys, and he's just like telling them basically he's just so much smarter than everyone, and not in a sadistic
I think he was
way.
I think he was
like,
telling the whole ideology around like Santa Claus.
Yeah, he's just like, don't complain about things, like basically, and it's very just it's really good.
I think he learns all of this from Dominic Sessa's character Angus Tully. Like, you see that in the bowling alley. You see the things when he goes into they go into the Modern Museum of Art, I think, and they have the pieces with Greek mythology and then he portrays something about like how the Greeks have sex. He's like, well, you should portray that more in your lectures instead of being so hard and dry about it. He's like, he thought about it and pondered. He's like, maybe I should do these things. And he sees that he's an intelligent kid. He's just he sees that he has problems with his family.
Yeah.
And we learn that later in the film.
Now, some of the core elements of this movie that I want to talk about is just like the overall production of this movie. I think that it is, like I said at the beginning, very, very well crafted. The cinematography in this movie is some of the most beautiful cinematography I've seen all year. And I just love, like, the shots feel so real.
The shots feel so real. It kind of feels, the thing is, this movie is basically depicted as a 70s style film.
Yeah.
Like you get that in the beginning with the credits, the MPA and all that stuff. It's in the credits.
Yeah.
You just have the intro of a film. You also see it has film grain. Like you can see the film grain in the movie through the whole movie.
And it really captures the time.
It really captures the time. Like even the shots with the credits, like in the opening credits, you see how they're like symmetrical. Like you see that they're walking down this path, and you have, the credits. Like it feels like a 70s film.
Yeah, and to go with it, like just the costume design and everything. Like everything was just fitting and perfect, and it definitely made you feel like this movie might. When I was watching, I was like, wow, like I feel like this movie was made in the 70s. Like, so that was good. And then the music was also really, really beautiful too. Like it had very, very good, solid scores throughout the film, as well as just songs that were chosen in general. I think that all of it put together was wonderful. Yeah, like this movie, I was just thinking about it. Like I love Christmas films, and I was a little like, Oscar films are wishy-washy with me. Like I love the Oscar, like to watch the Oscar films, but like, and I usually love all of them, but like I'm always like, man, that's just like so film bro-ish, like it's such a serious drama, or serious genre, I'm sorry. And I love serious films, but like they're not necessarily my favorite. They're not my go-tos, but I always enjoy them when I watch them. So this was one of those ones that I was just like, okay, this is definitely going to be an Oscar nomination. I'm not sure if I want to see it, but since we've been starting to do these reviews and podcasting and whatnot, and I've, dipped my toes into this film world, more so than I have before, I've learned to appreciate films like this, and with the Holdovers, this is a prime example of like what kind of film it takes to be so successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got pieces of everything. I've seen it in the last couple films we've reviewed with Killers of the Flower Moon, which we did an episode on, and American Fiction. They're just well-crafted movies, and it's great to see this. And I'm actually learning as well in terms of appreciating these movies by watching them. I mean, go back and watch some older films and kind of appreciate those old, those films that are kind of like high acclaimed in Oscar films.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting into the end of it, review time. What would you score this film?
I really enjoyed this film. I'm going to give this film a 4 out of 5. I really it was just a really well-crafted film, like the previous movie we watched, American Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Really well-crafted with the cinematography. I like that they portrayed the time period of the 70s with everything, with the style, the look. The story is just really good. The story is good with this. It keeps you engaged. Like, it's a really good story between all three of these characters. And then the next would be the acting. The chemistry with Dominic Sessa and Paul Giamatti. This is Dominic Sessa's like film debut. This is his first film he's ever been in, and he was amazing. So there's that, and yeah, the music is good too. It's just a solid, well-crafted movie. It's worthy for a 4 out of 5, and I can see why it's got Oscar nominations. Yeah.
If I were to rate this film, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think this is a damn near perfect film. My only complaint with it is that I feel like at certain points it's a little slow, and it kind of throws me out of it. But like, it's not, it doesn't stop me from finishing the movie at all. It's just like, okay, this part's kind of dragging. But besides that, 100% perfect. I think that this film is just like, the acting above all of it is just peak. And the direction from Alexander Payne, I think, is just he knows what to do. And the fact that he worked with Paul Giamatti before, I'm sure they had wonderful chemistry on production to deliver such performances. So I think this is a easy 4.5 out of 5, almost a 5-star.
Just he's a good director. I haven't seen any of his other movies, but after seeing this one, I'm definitely intrigued. Like, he worked with an actor that's never been behind a camera. In Dominic Sessa, and he did like amazing job. Like,
yeah, definitely.
It's like he was a natural.
All right. So that being said, let's get into the final bit of our episode. We have some trivia. Okay. So this is a new film, and obviously with the newer ones, we don't get a whole lot of trivia information, but we will do our best with what we have. So first fun facts. I'm sorry. I said trivia the whole time.
I was about to correct you,
Get ready for fun facts. Okay,
so I was about to correct him about that.
It's remember what I said before on the website. It's titled trivia for whatever reason. So, the entire film was shot in real practical locations. No sets or sound stages were used.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Because locations are not easy to shoot on all the time. So, let's see. Dominic Sessa said he was nervous hanging out with Paul Giamatti outside of filming, but that he was a very nice, easygoing guy with a great sense of humor. He said they were both fans of the animated TV shows and would watch them during filming breaks.
That's really cool.
So, I wonder what shows they watched.
Yeah, it doesn't say?
No, it doesn't say.
Oh, okay.
Paul Giamatti took credit for getting Dominic Sessa cast as Angus, claiming that he insisted on Alexander Payne giving him an audition after the latter expressed reluctance at Sessa's lack of acting experience in his resume. So again, taking a chance on an actor who has next to no experience not only is it risky, but like sometimes you get the best performances you'll ever have because you'll have the people who will actually put in all of the effort to to play a role.
And he did. Like, he was phenomenal.
Yeah. Angus Tolley was originally meant to be a 15-year-old boy, fisherman, by Dominic Sessa, convinced Alexander Payne to make him an 18-year-old senior instead, as he thought he looked too old to play the convincing freshman student. So, makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Paul Hunnam's Lazy Eye was Paul Giamatti's idea and started out as a prank on a co-star, Dominic Sessa, before being incorporated into the actual script.
That's cool, because he talks about that in the bowling scene and then in the exit scene when he comes out of the office for the dean, remember?
Yeah. Paul Giamatti claimed that it was difficult to get the schedule for shooting right, since Alexander Payne wanted to film in winter during real snowfalls and not use artificial effects at all. Flakes.
That's really awesome. I mean,
yeah,
it was on location too. So,
and then one last one for you guys: Angus doing a cartwheel while running with Dominic Sessa's idea after suggesting it to director Alexander Payne.
That's cool.
So that's cool. It's cool that Alexander let him do.
It looks like he
that.
Gave him a lot of freedom to try stuff.
It's nice. All right, so that is our review for the Holdovers. I really appreciate you guys watching our show. Please stay tuned next time. We'll have some good stuff for you this week, I think.
Yeah, we have some more content coming, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you all so much for tuning into the Calvin Cam podcast. We appreciate you all so very, very much. And if you like us, hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps us out, as well as you can go over to our social media platforms like Instagram or X and follow us over there. We like to communicate and build our community up, as well as you could also go to patreon.com/thecalvincam and join one of our 3 tiers that we offer. We offer a couple of different benefits per tier, and it's good stuff, and it would really, really help us, and we'd really appreciate it, of course. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you later.